Hey everyone. All right, I think I reached the Balmer peak to do this. Hopefully I won't go into Windows Me territory, so let's get started. So I kind of want to explain my talk here is that earlier January this year, I was at js.la, and I got to see this great talk given by Ben, talking about his career and how he got into programming. And it's an amazing talk. Go to the website, js.la, and check out the video. It's worth the time. But it got me thinking about my own career and what I've learned over time. And I discovered this cool little thing. Every company that's hired me, I've actually never known their framework or tool of choice at that job, whether it be Backbone, Angular, React, whatever. I had no previous experience with it, and I kind of had to figure it out on the job. So you're probably like me going, well, why the heck did they hire you? And I kind of came to this realization. It wasn't because I had previous experience or anything, or I was just that cool guy in the interview. It was mostly because I had a strong foundation in programming and JavaScript, the language, instead. So what this talk is really about is how I learned to stop worrying and love JavaScript. Now, hopefully any of you get the movie reference. Great movie. Check it out. So where did I get these foundations? Where did I learn JavaScript? Well, it wasn't college. So yes, I did go to a traditional college, and I did get a CS degree or CS Lite. But the thing is, this was back in early 2000s, and colleges didn't know how to teach programming for web. Like, I was studying visual effects and stuff, and I made the change over like late in my career. And what it was is, at most, I got like a week's worth of JavaScript exposure. So at best, the whole degree got me in the door at the interview for my first job. Not totally regretting those last 5 years of my life, but hey, whatever. So luckily, I was able to land a job. And this was at a company that was mostly LAMP stack. So that means just basically PHP and MySQL. And so that was mostly what I was working in. There was a sprinkling of jQuery in there, but mostly that was just to run a Flash video player. But it was a pretty popular website, and it was pretty badass. So I was there for a while, and I got this idea in my head that, you know what? I know how to make a website. All you need is a little bit of PHP and MySQL. You don't really need that much else. That was a mistake. But I thought I was a webmaster. I was, in fact, mostly a master of installing jQuery plugins. So really, really useful. But that said, I decided to go out and interview at places and try to, expand my career. That did not work out well for me. I was going to a lot of companies that were like, oh, JavaScript. And they were kind of like asking questions like, oh, well, you know what the prototype chain is? A what? Well, okay, you know how to do inheritance, right? You do that in JavaScript? Wait, so you at least know what a closure is, right? No, didn't know any of the answers. So at least to say, I kind of bombed every interview I went to. Not a great feeling. In fact, it was a horrible feeling. There might have been a lot of nights of crying in bed, a lot of Rocky Road eating. So after, sulking a little bit and rebuilding my ego, I decided to go out, and I'm like, I really need to learn these answers. So I went out and bought a few books. Now, these are the books that helped me learn JavaScript. Mostly JavaScript, the Definitive Guide, that kind of gave me a good overview of JavaScript. But what really helped me were these books, JavaScript Enlightenment, Maintainable JavaScript, Testable JavaScript. Even though I understood all the pieces of JavaScript, these were the books that kind of put it together for me. It's like, well, this is why you use a closure. This is why you create a factory, and this is how you can create it to where when, say, your product manager goes, hey, all those features I wanted you to add in? Yeah, throw those all out and completely change it, because, that never happens in development. But I'm not sure if these are still relevant, but these are the books that helped me. They're still available on Amazon. They're traditionally textbook style, so they're a little expensive, but I bet you can find some company that could help you find a coupon or something. Can't think of the name right now. If anybody has any ideas, I'd probably share it maybe. So I got all this knowledge and now I need to apply it. And I was successful enough to where I started applying it at my current job. And eventually enough, I was actually pulling off some pretty cool things. Like, we were a website that mostly featured video players, which every time we built a new page, we had to rewrite everything to play this new video with these plugins. I was like, oh, wait, I can just write a factory for that now and just save myself about 5 hours of work. So there's kind of a benefit to learning this stuff. But I decided, all right, time to go out, time to interview again. So I went to this one company, and they asked me, what's a closure? I knew the answer. What's a prototype, G? Boom, I knew the answer. How do you do inheritance? I actually knew the answer that time. So I felt great, and lo and behold, they decided to hire me. So, awesome time, feeling great, everything, going to my first day at this job. And they're like, hey, we were gonna put you on this team, but we got this little project that we need to get done pretty quickly. I was like, oh, okay. Well, the problem is it's a brand new UI for this big, huge reporting system. Okay, that's a little worrisome. And we're using this framework that nobody at this company has used before, but hey, we're gonna see if you can use it. Okay, but I'm gonna have a team to help me. Yeah, you're by yourself. And you only have 3 weeks. I got this. Yeah, totally. So after a quick mental freak out and everything, I started going through it. And I was like, all right, what am I doing? What am I doing? I started kind of looking at this framework. And I can't even remember what it was. Obviously, it's still in use today. No, it's not. But I started pulling it apart. I'm like, wait, I recognize this. This is a factory. Awesome. Wait, I recognize this. This is dependency injection. Sweet, hey, this is a closure. And slowly by slowly, I was able to figure out how to use the framework and how they built it. And slowly by slowly, I was able to put together, features and advancements. And lo and behold, I finished the project on time. Awesome. The company was so happy with my work that they were like, hey, we've got this other small project we're going to put you on. With a tight deadline, with a brand new framework, with nobody else to help you out. Yeah, that was great. But applying the knowledge I knew, I figured out the framework. I was able to actually get it done on time. Lo and behold, they reward you again, yet here's another project by yourself, et cetera, et cetera. And this keeps happening for a while. Now, during this time, I was able to figure out different frameworks, learn more vanilla JavaScript, and really kind of expand my skills. So I was like, you know what? Time for a change. I hear startups are cool. I'm gonna go to startups. So luckily enough, this startup decided to hire me. Well, they decided to interview me first. And in this interview, checking out the office, I'm like, there are dogs running around. I'm like, this is awesome. This is so cool. So we go into the interview room, and there's a laptop sitting there by itself. And the guy's like, hey, so I've got this JSON file. That's your mock API. Oh, okay, cool. What do you want me to do with it? Well, I want you to build a full search page. Wait, what? And it's going to have 2 filters, on it, to filter size and age and blah, 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 blah. I was like, okay. But don't worry. I've already installed Angular and Backbone for you. And I'm like, I haven't used either of those before. I haven't touched MVC or MV Star frameworks before. I have no idea how to use those. Oh, okay. Well, you got an hour. See you in an hour. Bye. So apparently I have the face that says, hey, this guy looks like he enjoys pain and suffering. I don't know why, but okay. So I spent the time, spent an hour, you know what, I've done this before. I can figure this out. And lo and behold, within an hour, I created my own MVC framework. Here's an example of it. That is incredibly small, and this is what happens when you don't test before you display. Let's zoom in. Okay. But it's a simple framework where functions, you got your render and everything, you kind of get the gist here. I'm going to kind of gloss over this. But the amazing thing is, it didn't work at all. But the people came in, and they were looking at it, and they were like, wait, you've never used Backbone before? Well, no, I haven't at all. Well, this actually kind of looks a lot like Backbone. And I'm like, really? Oh, okay. Lo and behold, they decided to hire me. And over the year, I kind of figured out Backbone stuff. We're going to skip the rest. But flash forward 2 years later, I'm at another company called Rex. And this company uses Angularjs. And I'm like, oh, crud. I'm going to have to do this all over again? Great. But the thing is, remember that comment the guy said? It's like, hey, this kind of looks like Backbone already. Well, that's because, and let me zoom out, they're all the same. So here's what I wrote for this MVC. Basically, you've got dependency injection, a couple like enclosures, some functions and such. And then this is Backbone. Once again, it's an object that's being extended with different properties and different functions within it. Kind of very similar. And this is Angularjs. Once again, this is a controller with, here's your object, properties, functions defined on that object. There you go, with each using dependency injection within their own way. That's my point. All these frameworks are the same. I didn't have room for a React example, but if you really look at it, it's just objects and functions all being called in different methods. That's really all JavaScript is in all of its frameworks at its total, is that different frameworks called different functions. So I've been talking about my career, and really like what I'm getting at is focus on JavaScript. You can figure all this out. I've spent years having to sit in front of a computer and just go, what the hell am I doing? How am I going to do this? All right, what does this function do? You can slowly figure it out. And the main reason you want to do that is that these are examples of all the frameworks and libraries that I've used over the year. Each have their different purpose. You got Angularjs, you've got Backbone, you've got Prototype, which who here actually knows what Prototype is? Wow, that is more than I expected. These are the old people. They are ancient. This was a precursor to jQuery. Anyways, now, how many of these are still in use today? There's only one. Wait, what is the other one? AngularJS, not Angular. Jesus Christ, if people are still using AngularJS. Oh wait, my job does that. We're switching to React. We're mostly React. I'm trying to hire people. I'm bragging about how we're on AngularJS. Jesus. Anyways, the point is that these are all going to be replaced. I bet you top dollar within the next 5, 8 years, React Killer 5000 is going to come out. And it's going to replace Vue. It's going to replace Angular. It's going to replace React. It's just going to happen. It's not a question of if, it's when. But I know, because I know JavaScript, I can figure that framework out. I have no doubt in my mind. And I'm pretty sure all of you could do that from your JavaScript experience. So the main point of this whole talk and everything is, I've kind of noticed recently, a lot of companies and a lot of younger developers, they're like, oh, I got to learn React. Oh, I got to learn Angular. And that's a giant mistake. I will tell you this right now without a doubt. Heck, you can probably ask any of the js.la organizers. I know for a fact David Gutman says all the time, don't learn React, learn JavaScript. And the reason is really, our job isn't to know the answers. We aren't supposed to know how to write a search page within an hour. We're not supposed to know how to use React. We're not supposed to know how to use Vue. Why did my computer just, okay. It's more about taking that foundational knowledge and taking the time to figure out the answers. That's what it's really all about. And that's pretty much what I was talking to. This went a little quicker than I expected, but yeah.